The best laptops for graphic design require more than just sheer power. There are a number of other things you must also take into consideration. To start, they must be armed with a lot of memory and one of the best graphics cards, so they can handle graphically intensive applications without breaking a sweat. The Microsoft Surface Pro X is an undoubtedly stellar looking and feeling tablet. Microsoft's newest attempt at an ARM-based Surface Pro device could have been impressive as well. It even boasts Microsoft's first ever original processor, the SQ1, which it co-developed with Qualcomm. However, it unfortunately falls short of expectations. We're more than a little let down by a few key Pro X design choices. Particularly, this tablet/laptop hybrid doesn't have an audio jack, and its battery life, while decent, is subpar compared to predecessors and contemporaries. The Surface Pro X simply trims and rounds out the classic yet dated Surface Pro design, bringing down its thinness and weight even further. Specifically, the Pro X measures 11.3 by 8.2 by 0.28 inches and weighs 1.7 pounds. The tablet feels impressively light, and slips easily into almost any bag, even with the type cover attached. Microsoft has also eliminated the hard angles of the classic Surface Pro design, giving the Pro X a much more rounded and modern look and feel that's closer to that of a smartphone. We appreciate these subtle design changes that make the Surface Pro X feel more like an iPhone X or than a Windows tablet. There's just one color option for the Surface Pro X, a matte black aluminum finish paired with a black type cover that drops the Alcantara fabric, and that's unfortunate. This is certainly a sleek and unassuming look, to be sure, so it's not all that bad. No lightweight at 5.5 pounds, the P53 measures 1.2 by 14.9 by 9.9 inches. That slightly undercuts the HP's Book 15G5's 5.8 pounds and 1 by 14.8 by 10.4 inches, but it's huge next to something like the 15-inch Apple MacBook Pro. The Lenovo has passed a dozen mil STD tests for durability, so there's almost no flex if you mash the keyboard or grasp the corners of the thick bezeled screen. You want ports? You got 'em. On the laptop's left side are two USB 3.1 Type-A ports, an HDMI port, and SD card and smart card slots. On the right are a USB 3.1 Type-C port, an audio jack, and a SIM tray for optional mobile broadband. Finally, the rear edge holds two Thunderbolt 3 ports, an Ethernet port, and the connector for the beefy AC adapter. The ThinkPad's wireless credentials include the new Wi-Fi 6 standard as well as Bluetooth 5.0. Windows 10 Pro for workstations is pre-installed. There are two ways to skip typing passwords with Windows Hello, a fingerprint reader and a face recognition webcam. The 720p camera, equipped with a sliding think shutter panel to block online peeping toms, is a disappointment, capturing dark, blotchy images even in my fairly bright home office. Audio from the P53 speakers is above average except for an absence of bass, instruments and voices are clear and overlapping tracks are easily detected. Crank up the volume and the sound fills the room without buzzing or distortion. Dolby Atmos software offers dynamic, music, movie, game, and voice presets and an equalizer. When it comes to design, not much has changed compared to the MateBook X Pros of recent years. It's a nice design, to be sure, with a sleek look that feels sturdy when in use, but not heavy or bulky when carried around. With dimensions of 304 by 14.6 by 217 mm and a weight of 1.33 kilograms, this is a slightly lighter and more compact laptop than the 13-inch MacBook Pro. Meanwhile, the screen is a 13.9-inch touchscreen with a rather unusual 3000 by 2000 resolution. This is due to the Huawei MateBook X Pro screen having a 3:2 aspect ratio, which leads to a more square-looking screen than the more common widescreen displays, which have a 16:9 aspect ratio. This gives you more vertical space, and in theory should make working on documents a bit easier, as you shouldn't need to scroll up and down as much. It's also the same aspect ratio that many photos are captured at, which along with the high resolution, which makes images on the display look sharp and clear, and support for 100% of the sRGB color gamut for maximum color accuracy, means the Huawei MateBook X Pro should be an excellent laptop for photographers. However, while the screen would also be good for video editors and 3D animators and modelers, it's worth noting that the NVIDIA MX250 graphics card is an entry-level laptop GPU, and while it's a step up from integrated graphics, It's not going to be able to handle intensive graphical tasks, and you can forget about playing all but the most basic of 2D games. The Acer Concept 7 is the latest example of laptop makers using their expertise in creating thin, light and powerful gaming laptops to create stunningly designed and powerful workstation laptops aimed at creatives, and directly challenging the MacBook Pro. Apple's MacBook Pro range is incredibly popular with professional creatives, but Apple's traditional dominance in mindshare is under serious threat from Windows laptops. This is largely due to NVIDIA's RTX Studio initiative, where the GPU maker works with laptop makers to create workstation laptops that feature NVIDIA's latest RTX graphics cards, which is what has happened with the Acer Concept 7. The Acer Concept 7 is a stylish and powerful laptop that's squarely aimed at professionals and creatives who need plenty of graphical oomph, and with some of NVIDIA's latest and greatest RTX graphical tech, it's not a bad choice for people who want to play the odd game either, though if you're mainly buying a laptop to play on, you're better off buying a dedicated gaming laptop instead. As a laptop aimed at creative professionals, it comes with features that mainstream laptops lack, such as Pantone validated screen and support for Adobe RGB and Delta E less than 2 color gamut. For people who work in industries where color accuracy is of the utmost importance, such as photographers and video editors, these are big selling points. Another reason why the Acer Concept 7 isn't a laptop we'd recommend for mainstream users. The Concept Palette UI is a pre-installed bit of software that helps you adjust the colors of the screen, as well as other settings to ensure that the Acer Concept 7 is set up the way you need it to be for work. Little touches like this are what set it apart from other mobile workstations. Clad in matte black aluminum, the MSI measures 0.74 by 15.6 by 10.2 inches. That's positively svelte next to, say, the HP's Book 17G5, though the latter is more expandable if you need gigatons of memory and storage. Some classy gold trim on the hinges and around the touchpad joins a tasteful logo on the lid. The workstation has passed MIL STD810G tests against shock, vibration, and temperature and pressure extremes. However, there was noticeable flex when I grasped the screen corners or pressed the keyboard deck. The left edge holds an Ethernet port, a USB 3.2 Type-A port, a microSD card slot, separate headphone and microphone jacks, and the power connector. On the right, you'll find a USB 3.2 Type-C port, 2 more USB 3.2 Type-A ports, 1 Thunderbolt 3 port, an HDMI video output, and a security lock slot. Most of the MSI's rivals offer 2 or more Thunderbolt 3 ports, but I won't quibble. Bluetooth and 802.11 acres Wi-Fi handle wireless connections. The 720p webcam captures averagely well-lit and detailed images with a small amount of grain or noise, but clear edges and accurate colors. It's not a face recognition camera, but Windows Hello users can skip typing passwords thanks to a fingerprint reader in the top left corner of the touchpad. The rectangular scanner is a bit smaller and fussier than the square fingerprint readers I've been seeing on laptops lately, but it works well enough.